From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
Back again for another episode of The Power Move. I'm your host, John Gafford. With me in the studio, not as always, but yeah, most of the time, I guess. We have him back for the day today. To my left, Colt, the Bulgarian mongoose, Amidan.
That's it.
We're just sticking with that.
You can't call him Green Bubble anymore.
No, you can't.
No.
You got to iPhone. You can't.
I think it's just the mongoose.
I know. I know. And with us as always, Chris, the counselor. How are you, sir?
How are you? Good.
Welcome,
Great,
welcome. So today we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But, you know, man, here's the thing. Every time there's an economic downturn, if you will, like everybody has predicted we are going into, predicted we're going into, it seems like a lot of new businesses are born. Everybody comes up with an idea. People lose jobs. People lose, what they're doing no longer works. So they want to open a business, and it's what they start doing. And a lot of times people that open businesses, I mean, let's just face it, they fail. And I think a big reason they fail is because people just don't know what the hell they're doing. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about and review a book that I like and a book that I dig, and I think you guys will get some much love out of it, which is the Personal MBA. It's a book by Josh Kaufman, and we actually have, if you didn't know this, Chris is actually an MBA.
Yes, sir.
So we can have that. So he's actually there. So I figure between me with the book, Connel with his high-priced education, and you with whatever it is you bring to the table, Colt.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah, just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
I figure, look, you're going to get some decent information. If you're ever thinking about starting a business, we can do that. But a couple things have come up, obviously, before we get into that. Man, I got back from Florida this week. Great trip to Florida. My good friend Kevin Griffin got married. He is the lead singer of the band Better Than Ezra. And cool wedding, man. Lots of cool stuff. I mean, I love that New Orleans crew. I like seeing them. I like being around all those people. And it's the few crowds that I'm in that like my son reminds that maybe I might be all right. Maybe he might be all right. Like we're sitting on the beach, because everybody's there. We're sitting on the beach and, my son's doing that standard 14-year-old angst pout, that we all know and love.
The low energy thing.
Yeah, dude, just sitting there under the umbrella, just staring into the abyss, pondering his life. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm bored. I'm like, oh, you're bored. Okay. And I was like, hey, do you want to meet the GM of the Saints and the Pelicans? Because he's standing 3 feet from you. And he was like, what? And I go, yeah. And Mickey Loomis is a guy I've known for several years. And I was like, hey, Mickey, this is my son. He wanted to meet you. I'm like, all right, buddy.
I want to meet him.
I know,
exactly.
Right?
I would appreciate it. I know he's probably.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm like, all right, buddy, what do you want to ask Mickey? And he was just kind of like, duh. And I'm like,
you guys gonna sign Zion?
Yeah,
to
what
a Supermax?
Well, I will tell you the funny thing about that is I finally did get to talk to Mickey about something which is funny. I haven't seen him in probably a year and a half. It's been since I've seen him. And many years ago, we were at a lunch in New Orleans. We were sitting there. And for those of you who didn't know, I love Florida State Seminole football as much as most people can love a human baby. And when Jameis Winston was coming out of college into the pros and got drafted number 1, we were at lunch, and I asked Mickey, I said, hey, what do you think of Winston? What do you think of him? And Mickey's just like, I mean, I don't get it with that guy. He's overrated. I think he's going to be a terrible pro. And I walked in, we're talking to Mickey and my son. I'm like, hey, Mickey, you know something I meant to ask you about? How about Jameis? And he just looked at me, started laughing. He's like, and I'm riding him now. I go, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was
he's still hurt though, right? I think.
No, he's back. He's full.
Is he?
Yeah, he's full OTAs. He's running again. But the best part about it was he goes, hey man, you ever notice how when you meet somebody and then they're totally different than the concept you had of them? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, yeah, everybody that ever meets me has that. And yeah, so he's like, no, the guy's amazing. He's a great leader, great in the locker room, just amazing.
Jameis?
Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah, but I think New Orleans is going to have the problem is they have such a hangover from Drew Brees.
Yeah,
that's a tough bunch of shoes to fill. Just as the way what NBC has hangover from hiring Drew Brees to do commentary.
Yeah, that's true, and I think and Payton was there. Coach Payton was there as well at this wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So talking about not having a care in the damn world, man. Sean Payton was there.
Oh, Sean Payton.
Sean
Sean Payton, yeah.
No cares in the world.
I thought you saw Peyton Manning at a New Orleans event, too.
No, I do. We see Peyton on the route. He's always in the same place we're riding Mardi Gras. But no, Sean had not a problem in the world with Coach Peyton at all. Just zero issue. But if we're going to talk about quarterbacks, man, I don't know if you guys saw this. One of my personal heroes retired over the week. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, dude. Do you even know who Fitzmagic is, Colt? Do you know who that is?
Fitzmagic. I know who he is. I love.
As a fellow Harvard, student number haver.
Okay.
Got to have a lot of love for Fitzmagic. No,
dude, that's somebody that just kept their head down, didn't listen to what people did, and did his job.
I hustled, man.
He did, and he did it good. And at the end of
17 years in the league, more passing yards than Troy Aikman.
You say he did it good. He did it often.
He did it often. Yeah, he did a lot of it. And I think the best part about Fitzmagic was there was always that when he would come in, everybody on the team that had him at the time, one of the 9 NFL teams over the years, he would run on the fields and you'd just be like, God, Jesus.
We got a draft.
Oh, God, here we go. And they would do like some amazing ridiculousnness.
He'd have half a dozen games where you just go, that's Fitzmagic.
That's it. The Fitzmagic.
But he is to me the definition of grit.
Oh, he is.
Oh, great.
I think he is almost. It's so funny how I feel like in sports right now we are leaning more into the anti-heroes, but the great ones. Like you look like right now, I can't go 5 minutes without seeing something about John Daly on golf, and I love that.
Oh, what an absolute legend! But John Daly's a legend because of his behavior off the field. Yes. Fitzmagic is half a legend because the way he'll show up to a press conference and his work on a mic.
Right. Yeah, no, without question.
That guy's a legendary human being. Yes. So we want to see him be good at football.
Yes, 100%. And I think for me, I'm okay with that. I'd rather see larger than life personalities that can take mediocre talent and make it just
fun.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say he probably extended his career good couple of years purely off of that,
off
right?
His personality. He's a locker room guy.
Okay.
Every single team he was at,
loved them.
You don't have to be that talented. Here's a business tip. Here's one of those business tips you don't find in the NBA books. You can have a very successful career and be terrible at your job.
Yep.
If you have some intangibles.
Well, I mean, look at who's the guy on the Heat? Haslam? Yeah. He's still playing? Like, they just pick him up and pay him minimum.
Locker room guys.
Are you guys watching the NBA?
No,
is that something we still do?
That guy gets picked up. No, I don't watch the NBA.
I watch every game.
Dude, I tried to watch the game the other night with Boston.
That was a terrible game.
Dude, it is shoot the three-pointer, nobody rebounds, nobody plays defense, and it sucks. It's a shooting contest.
It's definitely a shooting contest, but the defense is insane. Draymond Green's out there tackling dudes.
Well,
they're not throwing him out of the games.
That dude's the worst.
So what he does is he gets that tech real early. So they go, well, we've already given him a tech. Yeah. Can't give him another one.
Yeah.
So he is a genius.
He's the worst.
How to just play tackle football on a basketball court. He's a triple single player.
That's what they said. No, they had I saw a stat line somewhere. It might have been Barstool because obviously Dave Portnoy hates that dude.
Oh,
and he had a stat line. It was like 9 points, 4 rebounds, 27 tackles.
Yeah, 27 tackles, 2 assists.
That's what it said.
What do you guys feel about this golf stuff going down today?
I think that
that is you know what, man, that's a great topic. Colt,
great topic.
Coming on strong. That's great.
Because putting yourself in those positions, I mean, Tiger doesn't need the money, but I heard he turned down like
almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Almost $1 billion.
It's all just Saudi fund.
If you don't know what we're talking about, there is a Renegade Golf League coming out, and it is funded by the Saudi
LIV.
The LIV. It's funded by the Saudi Crown Prince that
chops up journalists,
including American citizens, and has no issue doing it. Publicly executes homosexuals. Women
raped.
Not good.
Not good.
Human rights abuse.
Not a good person.
But let me just jump on.
Of course that's terrible.
Of course.
But maybe.
Maybe.
No.
Now, LIV is a Roman numeral for 54, which is if you shot a birdie on every hole.
Yeah.
So it's LIV. It's cool. I think it's genius marketing.
Cool.
I thought that's really smart.
Okay.
How to use the lettering.
Okay.
Live. I don't know. It just has this kind of up.
But it's definitely not live and let live.
But have we looked at kind of how China has treated people and
that's what I was going to say.
We're going to clutch our pearls. We're going to clutch our pearls about human rights abuses, which I'm fine with. Clutch your pearls. But you can't, why do you give some things pass and some things not, right? How can you be a vegan and not understand that most grains that are farmed are killing ground nesting squirrels and all the birds and all the whatever. You're killing far more animals than you would be if you shot one cow.
Yeah.
Killing thousands of animals in these big tillers are just destroying the habitats of all these places. But it sounds good because you know, clutching your pearls is only when it's so in your face.
Sure.
So that's what I think is happening.
Well,
We're comfortable as long as there's a degree of separation
it's
past
like,
the human rights.
if you hear
you look at
somebody
that,
beat their wife, but if you see it on video, right? Like the NFL has done that.
Ray Rice is the bad guy,
Yeah.
but like Hunt and all these guys
But
get a
there's all
pass
these
over
guys,
time.
right?
Because there was no video.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you've got, I mean, what they said Dustin Johnson got paid $150 million. $50 million. And Tiger Woods' lifetime earnings on the tour. Not obviously with endorsements and everything else, but just his earnings on the tour, lifetime $141 million. Yeah. So Dustin Johnson is getting paid more guaranteed day one than Woods has an entire career.
I mean, Woods is a billionaire from Nike.
Oh, for
well,
sure.
that's all those golf guys.
Bag, they got the bag from everywhere else. I think they know that they're not going to get sponsorships too, though.
Yeah.
It temporarily, because the clutching your pearls crowd, and then a couple years from now it'll be fine.
Yeah, but here's my question. When's the last time you saw a bunch of protesters at a PGA Tour event?
0 times.
How many times do you think you're going to see protesters at this thing?
Well,
I think it's going to be littered. I think it's going to be littered with it.
You know what's funny?
I think because, like you said, this is the new thing to clutch your pearls about. This is going to be the new thing to run out on the green with murderer signs and throw red paint on Dustin Johnson on the 17th hole. I'm telling you, it's absolutely coming.
But here's the funny thing, John. Here's the nuance of that. There's a gray area. Because criticizing somebody from Saudi Arabia, that could be turned into appearing racist. And you always
can you be racist can you be mad at somebody that's I don't think you can be racist if they're sexist and
have you ever not seen the term Islamophobia on the internet?
Oh, for sure.
Every half other word when somebody's complaining about human rights abuses, when they throw homosexuals off buildings in Syria, you say
that becomes Islamophobia.
It's Islamophobia. You know, we do stuff too. So I think they're kind of in an area where it's not going to get the pushback that you think it will, because it can be reframed as being either Islamophobic or racist against the Middle Easterners.
To me, what's the difference between Phil and LeBron?
That was my point about China.
China, you know what I mean? Like, there's no difference in that point. If I'm in their situation, if someone waving that dollar in front of me, I'm taking it.
I'll take the bag because you can go do.
Well, Colt, you'll pretty much sell out for like what? What's the number? $12?
Yeah, like
13.
Yeah,
taco.
Just give me first class tickets on. Spirit Airlines, and I'm good.
Which they do have the big front seat.
Really?
Oh, the big front seat.
I've never been on Spirit, but no, I think that people just sit there and everybody talks big game, but you start throwing $200 million in front of people.
That's a lot of money. It's like, well, let's get back to what we're going to talk about today, which is obviously, look, man, if you're looking or thinking about starting a business, I recommend starting with this book. I think it's a great way, the Personal MBA, but you need to learn some business basics, man, the basic concepts of how to run a business, the basic ideas behind what makes business go. Because if you don't have that, you're going to find yourself getting buried. And I often go back, just to let you know how I use this book, is I often go back to it, and it kind of asks some basic questions that I then propose to all of our companies that we own. And I like to do that on a regular basis, not just with me, but with the people that work there, so we can all have a clear, concise idea of what we're doing, not just for the business, but for our customers, for the community, and for the bottom line, because I think that's important. So let's just start out with I'm just going to start hitting out here, and we'll just go from there. So some key insights from this book. Number one, the core function of a business is to provide value to customers. This is it.
100%.
You got to be building value for your customers. And if you're not building value, you're not doing anything. And customers decide to part with money when they understand that what you're going to provide for them is worth more to them than their money. Mm-hmm. And that's it. So this is where I did a post the other day where I said the biggest problem with entrepreneurs is they fall way too in love with their own product.
Sure.
Like you get I have this great thing. People are going to love it. It's amazing. And I'm going to do it just because you find value in it.
Right.
The key to value is it is subjective. So if the masses don't find value, or if you're doing something for a niche, if the majority of that niche does not find value, you're going to have a problem.
That's what we call Chinese math, right? Right. Say if I can get one person in China, 1 out of 1,000 people in China to buy it, I'll have 1 million customers. Yeah. Right? If 1 out of 1,000 people who love cats or whatever buys this cat calendar, You know what I mean? Like
all I need.
A billion cat lovers or whatever.
Let's talk about that, because, you know, a lot of times I would rather invest, or I would rather get into bed with a business that is in a proven field. Like when I get pitched all these, I would rather hear this is going to disrupt the market than this is going to create a new market. This is going to revolutionize. This is going to change how people oil bike change. You know, look, it needs to be something that somebody out there is doing. Now, the best way to start a new business is to find one that is already doing well in a sector, whatever that sector may be, and then study it. Try to figure out where the pain points are for the customers and improve the service or improve the product.
Right. Totally agree with that. I mean, and like creating value, right? Like that's why people will go and spend, $500 a plate somewhere for a tiny little thing, because you're getting so much value from that. You're getting the customer service, you're getting that everything like that.
You get to be in the place with the cachet.
Yeah. So you're creating that value, and that value could be something like a Costco where it's like there's no customer service, and here you go, you get a bunch of shit for cheap, right? Like it doesn't have to be the same exact type of deal.
Values in the eye of the beholder. A gallon of maple syrup is far more valuable to you if you run a restaurant than it is showing up at Delilah for whatever.
Right. Sure.
The worst baked Alaskan possibly ever made.
Yeah, really? I didn't like the baked Alaska. I didn't like it either.
It was really gross.
It was kind of
everything else was okay, but the baked Alaskan was.
I loved Delilah. Well, I loved Delilah. I thought Delilah was great. But here's the thing. I always say too, if you're developing a product, get it out. Like I always tell people, I've mentored some people and dealt with some folks that were like building websites, and they're like, oh, I just don't like it. Just get it out. Get it out. Get it out. If your product is not out in the marketplace, it's dying. Right. And also I would say, this is why I love Kickstarter. I love these products, because you can build one of something and then you can go on Kickstarter and start to market it and see if anybody actually wants to buy your product or service. Right. Like the mistake people make is they're like, okay, I need $100,000 so I can open this Mongolian popcorn store. Right? That's what I need. The build out's going to cost me $100,000 for my Mongolian popcorn store. Exactly, whatever it is. But that's what it's going to cost. It's going to cost me $20,000. When in reality, what they should have done was they should have gone out to someplace where there's food trucks and set up a little card table and started handing out Mongolian popcorn to see if people even like it.
Yep. Start off at the food market.
Yeah, to see if people even like it. Go to the farmer's market and see if they even like it.
Cooked over rubber tires.
Right. Yeah. But exactly. But people would rather go open the damn store without knowing if anybody even likes it. Right. And that's why, again, I've talked about the bottle of vitamins I have on my desk. I've made that mistake. We spent $150,000 on a bunch of vitamins that nobody wanted. Before nobody wanted. So moving on from there, the second one is businesses must make the right people aware of their products and service. If you are not good at marketing or don't understand how marketing works, you need to partner with somebody that does. You need 100%. To get in bed with somebody who does. This includes Google, online, social, all of these things. You need to look on Fiverr, look on Upwork, look on all these places and hire somebody to handle this for you. Or within your sphere. Ask people 100%. Because, again, if you are selling, baby cradles, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what you're selling, and you're marketing it to single people that are part of the I'm never going to have kids club.
Wasting money.
You're wasting your money and you're not going to get anybody there. But also it has to do with timing. You need to market your product to people when they want to buy it. Right. This is why in real estate, there's a service called Rebo Gateway that I love. If you're in real estate, it's awesome. You should use it. If you send mailers, you should use Rebo Gateway. Again, I get nothing for this. It's just a product that I like. And what Rebo Gateway does is it looks for life events that would cause people to move, new births, deaths, divorce, the tragedy triangle, if you'll call it.
The trifecta.
Well, not the birth part. That's not tragedy. But it looks for life events that would force people to move. But it also looks for, say you're going to farm an area or a neighborhood, and it says, okay, what is the average amount of time somebody lives in that neighborhood? And if it's 6.5 years, you can then extrapolate and pull a list of everybody that's lived there for 5.5 years on. Mm-hmm. Because again, why would you send a mailer to sell your house to somebody that bought one 3 months ago?
Yep. Right.
It doesn't make any sense. So being targeted in your mail and understanding how marketing works, or more important, targeted marketing, is essential.
Knowing your customers, huge. And I don't think people comprehend that. I had a call yesterday with somebody. I go, who's your customer base? Mm-hmm. Well, people that come to me, who are they? What age are they? Where do they live? What, all this kind of stuff. Because if you're trying to take something from this side of town, go complete opposite side, your customer base might not follow you. You know, and they had not a clue. I go, you don't know where people live? Right. Like, you don't know nothing?
No. Well, I think, if you're going to do marketing as well, I think understanding the message is so important, and so many people fall flat.
Oh, yeah.
For example, let's say that we're selling diet pills, right? That's what we're going to sell. All right. Sell me a diet pill, Chris. I'm just curious. I want you to sell me a diet pill on the spot.
Sell you a diet pill?
Why would I want to buy your diet pills? What's it going to do?
Well, it's about what you need from the diet pill.
Okay. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
You'd have to, I wouldn't say, why do you need a diet pill? Have you tried working out?
Jesus. Okay.
You're going to be like, no, I don't want to do that.
You're selling diet pills.
Yeah.
You believe in diet pills.
How often do you work out?
We're not pivoting. That's not the question. The question is,
you tell me how often you work out. You don't. Oh, so then what's the only other way you're going to get? What do you want to do?
My point was this: too many people like to sell the technical facets of what their product does. For example, if you're selling, thank you, Colt. If you're selling diet pills, you shouldn't be selling the fat is going to metabolize and it's going to come out of your lymph nodes and this and that. It should be,
what do you want?
Get back into the jeans that you wore in high school. Well, that should be the pitch.
And that's my whole point, right?
I get where
you're like, hey, do you want to work out? No. Well, then how else are you going to fit your goals? What do you want then?
Yeah.
I want to be in shape without working out. Well, guess what?
Right.
Yeah.
No, and that's even with real estate, man. There's so much of that. There's so much of that when you're showing houses. There's so much of that when you're trying to sell houses. Yeah. Whenever I teach all the people that work for me when they're out showing houses, I ask this question at the end of every showing: can you see yourself living in this home?
Right.
Because I want them to stop and imagine what it would feel like to live in this house.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I want them to be mentally placing the couch or the furniture. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does work, that's how you create emotional attachment to the product. That's how you get them to move from this step to the next. Yep. You've got to create that emotion.
When I do an office building with a business owner, my two stops in there are the conference room and then the executive office.
Do you do the same? Do you do the same thing in there? Saying, can you see yourself holding meetings?
No, I sit there and go, wow, God, you could put a cool,
wow,
look at this. No, but sometimes you can get into those. I'm like, man, you could have an awesome, setup over there. You could bring people in. You could have, coffee machine right here. Like you can sell them like this is a badass office, right? Or, you can, because you need to know, like if somebody's sitting there and they're young and partying, go stand by the pool and talk to them. Like, oh man, can you imagine all the freaking parties you could throw out here? Yeah, buddy. No, but you've got to find out what ticks them, right?
What do they want?
Play that.
Yeah. What do you
want?
Whatever.
No, I agree. But when you're going to sell something, onto our next little insight, which is closing a sale hinges on demonstrating the value of the product or service. Now, there are really 4 ways that a business can support its pricing decision. There's 4. Right? There's replacement cost, market comparison, discounted cash flow, or the value comparison.
Okay.
So when you're going to price your product, you're going to put a product or service, whatever it is. Let's pretend we'll stay with real estate because our services we put in the marketplace. We talked about that. You've really got 4 ways you can do it. With real estate, it's really probably 3, not even the 4. Because replacement costs, you can't really say. Well, I mean, you could because you could pose it to people. Replacement costs with us, not necessarily in the house, but I'm talking about for our services, but for our services using it. So replacement costs with us is, I would say, how that would fit into real estate would say, like, look, you can use somebody else, but again, how much do you want to walk away from the closing table with? You're demonstrating a loss to them that they would have to. Using you is going to get them more than somebody else. The replacement cost on using somebody else would be greater.
Yeah, it's a negative.
Or the replacement with somebody else is negative.
Yeah. You replace yourself with attorneys, like, all right, you know how many emails and phone calls and stuff, like you're going to try doing this.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's market comparison, which is basically, here's all the other products in the market. Here's why mine is better.
Right.
Here's why my service is better. Here's what I do over and above. This is why my widget is widgetier than your widget.
That's why people don't understand about real estate. There isn't a fixed amount of commission.
No,
There's not a fixed commission. People always say that, right?
Well, we're going to get to that because that really comes in. That really comes into
the views of the power move. Never ever underestimate the value of the Sherman antitrust
no
act.
fix, no fix. No, but and you got to know your market, right? Like if you're trying to push something out in a different market, it's like alcohol. Let's take simple, a drink. A drink in Utah is $6. A drink in Vegas is $18, right? Like
same drink.
If you're coming from Utah, you're like, oh man, I'm going to put this for $8. I had a lady. She's like, oh, no one's done this. I'm opening up a champagne room in the casinos, you can buy a bottle for $30.
Yeah,
no one does that. I go, do you know why no one does that? Because you can't pay your rent, right?
But it doesn't make any money.
Where she was coming from, all day long, she sells a bottle of $30 and she'll pay rent and whatever. So no, also market comparison that way too.
No, I think when you
2% alcohol.
Yeah. When you look at like discounted cash flow, when you look at that, like how people's like, what's discounted cash flow? That's like where you say like, for $1 a day, you can do this. That's always the big pitch of the charities. For $1 a day, you can do this.
So time share mistakenly use this pitch all the time, and they tried to do it to me one time, and I understand discounted cash flows. Right. And they talk about, well, you pay for your vacation now, so you pay for $100,000 for this piece of timeshare, but over time, things go up in value, blah blah blah. I go, no, but you're now like the way they do it, they try to present it as a discounted cash flow, like $1 today, $1 in a year from now is worth 91 cents.
Yeah,
right. So I'd rather you could have 91 cents today or $1 in a year. People don't understand that those are equivalents.
Yep.
They say, no, it's $1. It's like, no, but it's only going to be worth 91 cents a today's time. What it can buy, or what its inflated value, what you can put in the market and invest it at, what would your nominal return be? So the discounted cash flows, if you buy this now, you're going to save yourself money in 5 years or whatever. That's probably what he means by that, to understand that it's being priced based on the future value of something.
Yeah,
right.
And then of course the number one way products normally come to market is the value comparison.
Right.
That's how they come. And really, man, you've got a couple choices you could do here. If the whole pitch of your product is it's cheaper than every other product, I mean, good luck, because there is such a thing as perceived value. We've talked about it on this show before, talking about, sometimes you've got to price yourself into a place where you build some scarcity. You build that. Like, for example, if you go to Gucci and buy a bag, you're not buying a purse. You're buying the way it makes you feel when you walk around with that Gucci bag.
The way you think others perceive
you. The way you think others perceive you. That's the value you're buying. Right. So, especially in this business, like you said, there's no set commissions, but it seems like there seems to be an arms race to the bottom. And one of the things that our brokerage, I've always said is we will never see, look, there's no fixed commissions, but I can say what my agents can and can't market. Right. And I've always said, you're never going to see my logo on a billboard next to the sole driver of your offering being price.
Right.
Zero chance.
Yeah,
I have no interest in that business model whatsoever. None. And I've had people that we've talked to that wanted to come here and want to do that business model. I'm like, we're not your place.
Well, because have you ever dealt with them, by the way? Have you ever really spent some time working with people that
want the cheapest deal?
That give you the discounted model, or the people that are offering the discounted model?
Yeah, no, for sure I have. Like, for example, when I run my marketing, my Google AdWords, which for my real estate team, which is it's a lot. We run thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month to generate the sales that we do, but I have negative keywords. I think negative keywords are more important than positive keywords. So if somebody types in the word like deal or foreclosure or short sale or discount or fixer up, like, I don't want to deal with those people. Right. Those are the people that want to buy 70 cents on the dollar. Yeah. It's not what I'm looking for, because those are investors that are looking to flip or make money. I'm looking for people that want to buy luxury homes for them and their families.
Yep.
Those are our clients.
To live in, to make a home.
Yeah, those are our clients.
That they perceive.
Those are our clients, and that's who we look for.
And if you're getting into that, and you're not wanting to be there, it's because you're not setting yourself up good enough. You're not presenting yourself as value. I mean, we have people that will not come off of what they think they're worth, right? And there's some big commission checks cut, and they just stick to it. Yeah, I mean, where everybody else is like, I'll do it for % less. I'll do it. No, all right, cool. Go with somebody.
Look, everybody's got their own kind of way of doing stuff. There's always a discount model. There's always a premium model. There's always a kind of, hey,
Well, here's the next one I think is more important than anything we've talked about at this point, because it's what's missing from the majority of businesses and what really has gone missing since COVID, which is a successful business delivers value
service
to its customers, right? Customer service and value. Now, for me, the most important thing when I look at a value proposition of a business, the most important thing, hands down, is consistency in product. That's it. I want to know that I can get the same product if I buy it, go to this store. This is why McDonald's is so successful.
Yeah.
That's why McDonald's, they are doesn't matter where you go on the planet, the Big Mac tastes the same. It just is what it just does.
Curious enough, though, they do change it for their regional markets now.
Oh yeah,
They do? They changed up a little bit?
So what they do is they won't have a Big Mac. They don't have they don't have it in certain countries or cultures.
Yeah.
Right, but if the product is called the same, it's the same product.
Well, they call things different. So they have burgers in like Lebanon. I think they call it the juicy burger.
Okay, but
There's
That tastes the same.
because languages don't make because there
it
has
doesn't
to be some
translate,
sensitivity.
It
I'm
doesn't
not trying to be
translate.
pedantic, but sometimes
pedantic.
I
yeah.
don't know what
That's
that
a
means.
triple letter word score.
So explain
But
that.
in India,
Good
they
job.
don't
Colt, look at
like-
Colt. Colt's going to the Google machine.
Spell that.
PEDANT. So in India, they don't have it, right? Because obviously they don't eat meat as a culture.
Did he say PE?
Pedantic,
Let it go, Colt. That was like
pedantic.
2 minutes ago. Just assume it's a word and move
But
on.
anyway, they do have changes, right? Quote, Pulp Fiction or whatever. But
Yeah.
the Royale with cheese.
The Royale with cheese. That's true. But again, I think that, meeting or exceeding your customer expectations is so clutch and so important in what you do. In the brokerage business, of which we're in that business, it's so hard and so difficult to constantly try to exceed your agent expectations. It just is. And it gets harder every single day. And we're constantly looking for new ways that we can improve that. From our service businesses, which are our mortgage company and our title business, we're always looking for ways to make our customers' lives easier, better, faster, more efficient. Because if you're not doing that, if you're not focused on getting a little better every day, now granted, there'll be problems within the workflow that they call acceptable problems. You're going to have some stuff that's like, okay, well, that's just going to happen. And honestly, trying to fix it would make it worse. You know what I mean?
Well, that's half your business model is the vertical integration and bundling.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And that's to provide customer value.
But the point is, I think one of the reasons that we've been so successful with the stuff that we do is because we're always trying to get better. We don't ever rest. I mean, I was on the plane coming back and I'm looking at I always pull up the stats, and still currently this office for real estate in Summerlin, this office is number 1 in the entire MLS and Summerlin is number 3. And every time I see that, half of me is very happy about it. And half of me is like,
How do I say
shit,
it?
how do we stay here?
Yeah.
How do we stay here? Because, dude, here's the thing about being number 1.
Everybody's coming after you.
Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go but down. So, that's the idea is you spend so much time trying to get there. And then when you get there, you're like, man, how do we stay here? And so I would find that I work harder now on ideas and concepts for this business to make it better than I did on the way up.
Right.
Like I'm fighting harder to stay here than I did to get up here, I think.
It's kind of funny, like in the NFL football teams, they're saying, hey, Jimmy Garoppolo, why don't you take Trey Lance under your wing and mentor him to become your replacement?
Right, replacement.
Like, no,
No, not doing that. No, no, thanks.
I'm number 1 right now.
And that happens a lot, right?
It
Like
happens
people
in all
sit
things.
there, and there's a difference between like you guys. People will help you out. You can go pick out your competitor and just talk and whatever. Sure. They'll give you some stuff. They're not going to give you everything. They'll give you, but they will give you some stuff.
Sure.
And a lot of times, sometimes you have to kind of follow your competitor.
That's it. That's interesting, man, because that brings me up, and I can tell you, the people that do the best in any industry that I've seen around are so free flowing with their ideas and what they do. They don't care.
Because execution is far more important
Oh,
than
100%.
Because
100%.
you can sit there.
Ideas don't
That's
mean
every real estate weekend getaway is the same thing. Cold call, hit your spear.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the
There's
same
no
great
magic.
concept, right?
There's no magic, just effort.
They just know they won't do it.
Execution in sales is personality.
Yeah.
Right? Like how good a listener are you? How much do you care about people? I can see right through people that are trying to sell me something.
Oh yeah.
When people give a shit about me, I care about them.
Yeah.
It's a natural human psychological instinct.
Let me ask you a question. Because I saw somebody the other day, and it's a dude that I've called out for saying dumb shit before. but a dude, call him a social media influencer or whatever, said, not the one you think, a different one. This guy was standing in front of a bunch of people, and he said, and he was wearing his, Affliction t-shirt or whatever the hell he was wearing, and he was like, man, people would come to these sales seminars and tell you need to wear a suit and you need to dress up and look professional. I'm not going to tell you that, because people want to do business with people that are real. That's who I want to do business with. And I'm like, I heard that, and I'm like, bro, that might work if you're selling solar.
Yeah.
But in the business that we're in,
you're a professional.
Dude, this is the most expensive thing people will ever buy. You need to look the part when you show up. If you're, there's no like, I'm gonna keep it real and wear my Kid Rock T-shirt because that's what I wear.
The only time,
dude, no,
Look
like a damn professional.
Somebody was saying, it's like, I want my pilot to have gray arm hair that goes over his wristwatch.
Yeah,
I want my accountant. I want my accountant to never ask me to go for cocktails
ever.
I want my accountant to just be the most boring human being alive.
I have that
suit.
Guy. He's great.
A monochromatic black or white or tan suit.
I have that guy.
That is the end of the conversation. Really weird shoes with the tassels on it. The loafers with the tassels.
When I talk to my accountant, his voice never, it's just straight monotone the entire time. It does not, there's no inflection whatsoever.
You're like, hey,
Yeah,
don't ever change.
Never. Never.
I love you, Blue.
Stay you. Stay you.
And you have to stay you in anything you do, but you have to also dress apart, right? Like right now, if you're watching this, I am as dressed as you'll ever see me, but it's just because I came from internet people.
I'm just going to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, the fact you're not wearing pants is a little strange.
Well, sorry.
It's a little weird.
Internet people, they like my
I mean, look,
fans.
they
like my OnlyFans.
By the way, if I was a betting man, I would have said boxers.
I thought he had salmon tights on. I thought he had salmon Lululemons on.
No, he's got a onesie on. It snaps underneath his crotch.
No underwear today,
salmon
guys.
Lululemon.
No, but like I dressed down today, but I sat here. I'm like, oh my god, do I have time?
Nobody's gonna.
But I feel so underdressed because people go and how do you do $1 million deals to people and expect them to be okay with you in a t-shirt or flip flops that kind of stuff?
If you have a relationship though.
Okay, let's back up. Like today, I am wearing a jacket, I'm wearing a t-shirt, and I've got tennis shoes on. But I look very put together in what I'm wearing. Right? I'm not wearing a suit, but I look put together today. There's a difference between.
You look like you intended to put the clothes on that you had.
Yes, it's just 100% intentional, well thought out. It wasn't what was clean hanging out of the hamper.
Oh, God.
That's not what we're doing. All right, moving on. Savvy business owners carefully manage how money flows in and out of their business. So what would you think? Let's pretend that we have what do you think are the most important ways to manage your bottom line? Connel.
Oh, having an appropriate bookkeeper.
I think that's clutch.
I think, understanding where the dollars are coming in and out. And that sounds facile, but have you actually ever signed up for one of those things that cancels things that you're not using?
Yeah.
Or you ever had a kid take your credit card?
Can I tell you this? This was one of my proudest power move moments ever. I don't even think you were here when we did the how to recession proof your business.
I was here for
Were you here for that?
Yeah.
I mean, you might have left early. We did that how to recession proof your life. Is what we did. We talked about, one of the things we talked about was losing your credit. Yeah, because you said you'd rather get kicked than that's why.
That's what Francis Ngannou.
No, you were there, right? Francis Ngannou. No, Mikey Gordon came up to me and said, you guys saved me $285 a month. From stuff we told him to do. One of the things that he was paying for, I'm going to out him on here. Sorry, buddy. One of the things I'm going to out him for, he said he was paying $40 a month for American Airlines Wi-Fi, and he hadn't been on a flight in a year with American Airlines.
But why? I mean, you think
you don't even know.
You don't even know half the time. I go back and look at my statements. I go, well, this is fraud.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's just something that's a relic.
Yeah.
It's the detritus of a bad decision 4 years ago that I just never followed.
And it could be something that got you to where you needed in your business a year ago, and you don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? People just keep adding to their business costs on, well, this marketing worked. Well, maybe you're not marketing those people anymore, that group anymore. So maybe switch, right? Like that. I see a lot of that where people are sitting there throwing away money on stuff that worked for them 3 or 4 years ago.
And here's the stuff that I see is number one, understanding COGS, cost of goods sold, understanding how much it costs you to produce whatever it is that you're doing. Right. And if it is your time, let's say you're a hairdresser that does extensions, you need to understand how long that takes you to do. You're like, your time is your investment
inventory,
there,
yeah.
right? Because you're swapping time for money. But if you have a store and you're selling shoes, understand how much it costs you to buy the shoes, what rate at which they fly off the shelves, and how much you need to sell them for.
Costs.
Because here's the problem. A lot of people don't understand that this is why it's so important to test market your product first and see what the market will bear based on how much you can sell it for. Because if you're looking to just say, well, I'm going to buy product X and mark it up 20%, well, what if the market won't pay 20%?
Or what if
now you're screwed.
20% doesn't cover rent?
Yeah. Well, what if the margin isn't enough? So understanding what the market will bear for a product, then understanding how you put into it is very difficult. Like that's why, restaurateurs, my hat's off to you with the constant crazy changes in commodities over the last year between chicken wings and then produce and everything else. I mean, God bless you that you're able to manage that. Because it was always pretty consistent. You could look at, you look at product mix of how much of each item you sold, what it costs to make that item, and you come up with your food costs. You could see this, but like in restaurants, you have the ability to then pivot and say like, okay, we need to lower our food costs, so we need to sell more of this item because this item makes us more money, and you can push that item out front, which it's so funny. I never understood it when I was in the bar business years ago, and it's changed a lot. But like when I was in the bar, one of the bars that we had was like, I mean, it was a dirty bar. It was just a bar, right? And I'm like, when people come in and they order a vodka tonic, you don't ask them if they want Grey Goose. You pull up the $4 bottle of Popov and you pour it off because I make more money on that $1 less drink than I do on the other one.
Yeah.
So pour the cheap stuff. I want you to pour the cheap stuff because it just the way that it worked out with the cost of goods. Right. The second thing I would say is understanding your labor costs. And if that's you, and one of the biggest mistakes I think I see people make is they make bad hires in their business. Maybe they'll hire somebody that's not suited for the job.
Or too many.
And then they will try to prop up around those people.
Yep.
Like, oh, this person might not be good for the position, so they're really running behind. Let's get them an assistant. Let's get an additional helper for them. And all of a sudden it's like you wind up just with this giant Band-Aid that'll blow your labor out. Sometimes it's better to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody and say, hey, look, you're not suited for this job, but we're going to move you over here. Or maybe they just go and they get somebody more suited for those positions.
Absolutely.
But having people around that you don't need is a killer in business. It's why I love outsourcing.
You talked about that actually one of the last podcasts, 2 podcasts ago.
Did I?
Yeah, make yourself invaluable.
Yeah.
When a recession's coming, make yourself invaluable. Make sure that you're able to do the job of 1.5 people because they may,
have to.
There may be 67% of the amount of people hanging around.
Yeah. No, you absolutely may have to.
So
there's no question there.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is understanding basic human psychology should inform business strategy. I don't remember where they were going with this, but I'm going to read something.
I think that's the most important one, period.
I got it. I see what they're saying. They're saying is basically make it easy on people.
Well, and understand how fear and greed work together. Yeah. Understand those basic concepts of what drive people to
FOMO.
Fear
those things.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how all image-based stuff is FOMO. Yeah. Right? Have you ever actually went out and bought something that actually improved your life? I don't want to throw you under the bus here, but have you ever purchased something
that improved my life?
So every time you make a beautiful purchase, right? Let's say you buy a really beautiful car. Brand new, beautiful car. Oh my God, what a beautiful car. Driving that car, I don't care what it is. Talking about the experience. You have to be a real geek before that experience is that much better than like a new Toyota Corolla. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if you drive the nicest cars. What's up?
The Snuggie didn't make my life easier.
But I'm saying, so if you're a car manufacturer, right, you have to sell image and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, what is a car doing? It's getting you A to B.
Yeah, that's all it does.
But that's all it is. It's status symbol, right? That's what Starbucks did. That's what Rolex did. Absolutely. That's what Gucci's done. That's why
Rolex
you don't
tells time.
Yeah, that's why you don't see these guys being at Ross, right? They'll just if they don't sell it, it's not going to a discounted store. It's done, right? Like they keep that brand.
There's no discount Louis Vuitton.
Understanding the psyche of somebody's when they're walking into your store, right? Like people need to understand when they're going to a mechanic shop. If I'm own the mechanic shop, I'm going to make sure that I'm super honest and super open with them because I know they're coming in with that psyche of, hey, these guys are going to rip me off, right? Like, because everybody goes to a mechanic thinking they're getting ripped off, right? Like
getting
oil
psyched
change.
out.
No, but I think they do, right? Like, I think that's what people come into.
Yeah, that's the value proposition.
Yeah.
Honest mechanic.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the problem with honest mechanic.
go out of
If you
business.
call yourself honest mechanic, people
you
don't believe you.
honest?
They're just
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
assuming like it's like I hate
Honest Charlie's over here.
No, I hate in sales situations when people say, I mean, let me be honest.
Let me be honest with you.
So
I
you've
expected
been
you to be-
bullshit me
yeah.
the whole time?
I presumed you were honest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I hate that. If that's part of your pitch, kill it.
I think that if you ever say that, you need to understand that that's a horrible tick.
Oh, it's awful.
If you ever have that tick, focus on it. Stop saying like, don't say pause instead of saying those things. I need to work on it too. And then never, ever say, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I already assumed that. We're still
that's
talking.
happening.
That's a
there.
baseline of human, communication, that you're not going to present me with falsehoods consistently. So the minute you start saying that, we switch to gear.
Yeah,
I think that
now
is
you're
one that
lying to
you
me.
eliminate that yesterday.
I agree. Next one, business owners should always look for ways to improve their productivity or boost it. Now, this is done very simply, a couple of different ways. And really, this is about measuring and goals is what this is about. If you open a business, you absolutely have got to have some sort of goal and some sort of trajectory plan. You guys laugh it up, but this is one of the things it's one of the things that I learned at Hooters of America way back in the day.
Hooters baby.
When I was a Hooters manager, which was the 30, 60, 90-day plan. And we always had to have these every quarter turned in. What our goals were for 30 days, our goals were for 60 days, our goals were for 90 days. So you always understood what you were working on, the trajectory that you were on. Every time, with my team now, we do a one-page business plan. We change it, update it every quarter. The reason it's one page is because if you do this long, elaborate 30-page thing, you're less likely to pivot from it. If it's one page and something's not working, you're like, okay, screw that. Let's move on to this.
I'll push back just very slightly on that.
Yeah.
Have the 30-page business plan at the outset,
Well, you
and
need,
then
you
update
need
a
that.
one-pager.
You need that. You need
Update
that.
your
Well,
one-pager.
there's a difference between being, a salesperson and an actual business owner. As a business owner, you absolutely better have business plans, decks.
Know your market.
You know your
Put the time
market,
into it.
projection, a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year projection. You better have all that ready, because people think, oh, I can go open this store. It costs $2,000 a month. Cool. All I need to do is sell this many shoes. I can do that. Bam. Well, no, you don't realize you have insurance costs. You have, you have taxes. You have
Workman's comp, everything else.
Yeah, all that
Sales
stuff. So
tax.
no, if you're selling that goal of all I need to do is break even on 2,000, you don't run a proper projection, you're going to be out.
Dude,
quick.
I've known a couple people that had some really successful businesses that ended up getting closed down because they never bothered to pay their sales tax. I've known that to happen.
Do you know what the number one reason new businesses fail?
Tax.
Success.
Yeah.
Failure to cash flow manage. Because here's the thing. If you have a graphic, you look at these periods where someone's in the black versus when they're in the red in cash flow. Mm-hmm. People consistently get squeezed out of their own businesses because they need to purchase more inventory than the sales, and they'll have lagging or net costs or net payment dates or whatever. So a lot of these businesses are net 30 days, net 60 days, 90 days, but you needed that inventory yesterday.
Right.
So you now have to come out cash again, you're taking loans. And it's cash flow management that crushes a lot of successful business. That if they had better cash management or projections, they could have either realized they needed more money to get past that crunch. If they projected out a successful trajectory, right? They go, look at all this money I'm bringing in. It's great, but it's on paper money or it's ARs or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Accounts receivable for those of you who don't know.
accounts receivable.
Well, it's a lot cheaper to get, some money and keep it going and have it planned out than calling somebody and say, I need this money by 4 days.
Yesterday. Yeah. Never. Yeah. If you're making phone calls asking for money, I need this money tomorrow.
Then your interest rates.
You've messed up something.
Yep. No, I agree. Next one. And this is clutch, man. Successful business owners create supportive work environments that inspire rather than force other people to work hard. Now, what did I say? I saw a thing earlier that said, what did it say? It said it's great leaders reluctantly lead, is what it said.
I get that.
Meaning that no great leaders set out to be a leader. They just reluctantly were the best person for the job. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, I think you fall into that category. I don't think anybody wants to be an entrepreneur to be the boss.
I don't think
Or any successful entrepreneur.
people that want to be leaders frighten me. Just like that's for the same reasons a politician.
Politicians scare you. It's the same shit.
Because I think leadership comes naturally. I think you have it in your genes. You're so averse to failure Like, look at this. I hate to go back to sports all the time, but there are natural leaders that emerge through locker rooms, and it's their actions on field, and it's their behavior, and it's how they conduct themselves, right?
Is Draymond Green a leader?
He is. No, he is definitely. They call him a glue guy. He's a spark plug guy. He's adhesive. Every single person in that locker room loves him, and he'd go out there and he'll go to war for his people, right?
And
because his actions.
Exactly.
He takes actions that evidence his leadership. It's not bloviating. It's not hollow words.
It's not. You don't need to be the top sales guy to be the best manager, right?
Sometimes
those guys are not the best managers.
I think if you own the company and you're the owner, one of the hardest things that you got to get over, and a lot of first-time entrepreneurs, first-time business owners have just got to come to grips with this, which is, and it's a mental thing because it's not real. In your head, you're going to think, nobody will ever, like, why can't you just do it the way I do it? Right. Why can't you just care as much as I care?
Why aren't you me?
Why aren't you me?
Right.
Nobody is ever going to be you. Ever. They're not going to be you. Stop trying to pretend somebody's going to be you.
They don't have the value if they're you.
Because here's the thing. If somebody is really close enough to being you to be you, they're going to rip you off and take your business down the street.
Sure.
Let's face it. So just come to grips with that right now, that nobody is ever going to be you.
But you should never even want people to be you. So I one of my, a couple of my friends have this company in town called Foodie Fit. They make wonderful,
good food,
prepared food to go, health conscious, just really wonderful stuff. The chef of that company is this guy, Bo, and he is not a salesman. He's not a marketing guy. So he brought on two other guys. One is a crunch the numbers, brilliant administrative, like business-minded guy, and the other is an absolute social monster, loves to get out there, loves people. That's why they're successful.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
They got a guy who's doing this thing that they need to make the product. They got another guy who's managing it appropriately, who doesn't need to go out to the.
If you're all the same, events. Then you don't need a partner.
That's right.
Guys out making relationships, and they're getting relationships with a bunch of people I can't say.
But I think it's more than just the partners. I think it's got to go down to every employee. Yeah. Every employee's got to feel valued. They got to feel like they have input into the product, because if you want people to buy into your company, help them craft the vision and the idea of where the company is going.
And that's great leadership. But
I think if you can do that, I think you have a great culture.
And I think at the end of the day, though, people sometimes forget that your employees aren't necessarily going to love their job. And depending on the industry, that's why they're, it's unfair to expect people to, in certain industries, right? If you're in Tesla, you can sell the vision that we're saving the planet,
right?
Whatever, whether or not you agree with it, do carbon footprint measuring, whatever. But with Tesla, you can say you are saving the planet from fossil fuels. That is an objective you can get behind, and you'll get paid well. I can see why people will move cross country to go work for that company. Or there's this business that does whatever, but they treat people so well. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of your child care on site. We'll do all these things. Those are those cultures. Or Dan Price's company. Do you know him?
No.
He's the guy who every single employee makes 70 or 80 grand.
Oh, yeah, I do know that.
So I met Dan one time, and we were chatting at one of these events, and he's just like, it's more than enough. Now, he's obviously the owner of the company.
Sure.
But he works at it. He does all this stuff. Every single person, he doesn't make this CEO compensation of millions of dollars. He makes the same 75 grand as the administrative staff, whatever. Everybody in there goes, okay, this is now a team I'm truly a part of. But if you're paying somebody $15 an hour and they're making food or whatever, it's hard to. You need to get on board with this vision. You need to make that rice better.
Yeah, but you can make their life easier, right? You can. That's what you got to figure out. Like if somebody's there and they're there because they don't want stress, don't add stress to them.
Yeah, totally.
If somebody's standing there in a line, making food, go buy them a freaking rubber mat that's soft underneath, right? Like you can do stuff to let them know you care about them, even though there's not always a vision to everything, right? Yeah. Like a lot of times the vision's like, this is just your job, but you can make their job whatever they're there for, right?
Right. In our industry, like attorneys, real estate professionals, all these people, those have to be self-motivated people. They have to be, they're working at a high level, and you need to make sure that they know you're there to support them. You're not there to go out and do their job for them, and they should be on their own, their salespeople, whatever. But, a lot of jobs in this country require you to, get behind a truck and drive, for hours and hours and hours. And it's thankless. But if you sell the vision that you're feeding America, you can at least find ways to spin that where it.
Well, I think you've got, at the same time, you got to pay them enough to where they understand they can feed their family.
So that they can raise their families.
Next insight, a business is best understood as a system. And I love this, man. And if you are thinking of opening a business, or you have one, or you are in business, if you're an independent business person, realtor, whatever, attorney, whatever it is, blah, 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 you should be able to take out a piece of paper right? And draw a diagram of how your business works as though it were an engine. This is where it comes in. This is what happens here. This is what happens here. Then this goes to this. Then this goes to this. We've got to purchase this. This happens this. And you should be able to lay that diagram out no matter what the business is. And if you can do that, then you can start thinking analytically about ways to improve, looking for customer bottlenecks, looking for customer issues, looking for ways to improve, looking for cost-cutting measures, looking for ways you can boost revenue, looking for all of these things because you can look at it objectively. What happens is people get in their business and it's almost impossible to work on a business if you're working in the business. It's almost impossible to do that. So drawing those schematics, I think, is so important. Can you do that for your, I'm curious, can you do that for your law?
So what that happens is I know where my bottlenecks happen because I get to cases. I have certain types of work I need to do. I'm also the salesman for my company. I always need to get people in the door. I have a paraprofessional who does the a lot of the nuts and bolts stuff of how this gets done, served, a lot of those things, and she's very essential to my business. But there are bottlenecks, so we have like weekly meetings where we go through status updates, and I touch everything. I try to make sure that everybody's been touched, right? And not
buddy,
every case has been
good
touched.
attorney, Bill Cosby over here.
Well, that's Touche. When I said it too, it just came out. I'm like, well, it's what you're doing.
Cosby law.
No, but you got to have, and then I have other administrative staff that do my data inputs, stuff like that. Then my wife helps me out with certain things, and so I have my own.
So you
system.
figured it out. You
I figured I have my own system, but it can always be improved, and it is difficult for me when I'm in the middle of an 8-hour mediation, as in last week or whatever, or I'm going and going and going and going and going. I can't stop and be a part of any type of system. On Thursdays we do this because I'm so up in the air. Court could be any day.
See, that's a problem. You need
But
to figure that out.
and that's it,
I
right?
can't
Like
figure it out because I can't. I'm not going to hire someone to do what I don't need them to do.
Yeah.
No, and that's what you got to step back and look, right? Like the whole process might seem amazing, as a whole, but there might be those couple of spots that's, we're having issues here where you have to hire somebody else or move somebody else. And I think that's a key to do all the times, look at your business.
Figure that out. Well, I mean, guys, look, if you're going to start a business, I wish you well. If you're in business, hopefully you picked up some stuff today and said, man, maybe I need to take a look at this. I need to figure out what I'm doing. I need to figure out where I'm spending money, where I'm getting money. Am I budgeting money? Do I have goals? Am I doing all the things I need to be doing?
Am I relying on one thing far too much?
Yeah, which is the worst. I mean,
I have one customer that pays me all this money. I'm going to quit my job here. And
don't do that.
Yeah, you better have your outs.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully you'll come back next week. I have a new sign-off. You ready? It's like the new tagline I'm going with. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Here it is. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you're watching us on YouTube, man, smash that like, subscribe button, hit the notify button. Let us know if you're listening to us on any of the podcast things that we're on. Make sure you give us the maximum amount of stars. That's the easy way to put it. Every little bit helps. It's good. And remember, guys, thanks for listening to The Power Move. If you're going to move forward. We'll see you next time.
Make it powerful.
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.